Imagine this for a moment. Right now, at this very second, there is a man thinking about you. No matter what he focuses on, your face keeps appearing in his mind. Your name quietly returns to his thoughts repeatedly throughout the day. Even when he tries to push it away or cannot fully admit it to himself, his body already reveals what his mind is hiding. His posture, subtle movements, and the way his energy shifts all point to one truth: he is deeply in love with you, even if you do not see it yet. The reason you may not see it is not because you are unaware or naive. From a young age, you were taught to listen for words, promises, and direct emotional statements. You were told that love must be spoken openly. But real masculine desire often exists in a much quieter form. It operates through a hidden code, a silent language so subtle that nearly 97% of women never learn to recognize it. What I am about to share can transform how you understand relationships and the male mind, particularly the gap between what men say and what they unconsciously express. Carl Jung, one of history's most influential psychologists, discovered something remarkable about men that most women are never told. He found that when a man truly loves a woman, his unconscious mind enters a state he cannot fully control. In this state, his body and behavior begin to reveal signals that are automatic and almost impossible to fake. The real tragedy is that many women misinterpret or overlook these signals entirely. They often mistake true emotional depth for temporary games, or worse, dismiss men who are deeply in love simply because those men do not express it dramatically or overtly. Have you ever sensed that quiet inner feeling, that sense that something doesn't fully align? A man may say he is interested, yet his actions seem inconsistent. Perhaps he rarely talks about emotions, but something inside you feels a strong connection. That feeling is not accidental. It is not imagination. It is your unconscious mind picking up signals your conscious mind was never taught to read. This is not manipulation or shallow attraction tactics. It goes far beyond that. This is the reality of what happens inside a man when he meets a woman who awakens more than physical desire, a woman who touches something deep and emotional within him. There is a clear pattern, a silent form of communication that emerges through gestures, eye contact, pauses, presence, and behavioral shifts when he is emotionally invested. Once you learn to notice these signs, confusion fades. You stop questioning your worth. You stop wondering where you stand. You stop guessing his intentions. The problem is that most women look in the wrong direction. They wait for dramatic confessions or obvious statements, when the truth is often revealed in the smallest details. Jung spoke of the lover archetype, a powerful inner force within every man. When this force is activated, it transforms his behavior in ways he may not even understand himself. This is instinctive, not something he can consciously create or fake. What you are about to understand may completely change how you see the men around you. It may explain emotions you have sensed but never clearly described. These signs are subtle, yet undeniable. A man may try to deny, hide, or rationalize them, but his actions will always reveal the truth. There is a significant difference between simple physical attraction and genuine emotional investment. A man driven only by desire tends to withdraw when challenges arise. In contrast, a man who is emotionally engaged becomes more present during difficult moments. One creates uncertainty and emotional tension, while the other fosters stability, safety, and consistency. One lives only in the moment, the other quietly envisions you as part of his future, even if he never says it aloud. Before diving deeper into this understanding, one that can permanently shift how you perceive men and relationships, pause for a moment. I want you to do something simple. Comment the word perception below. This isn't just for engagement. Writing this word primes your mind, opening it to the insights that follow. It acts as a mental doorway, preparing you to absorb these ideas more deeply. Have you noticed how some women naturally attract commitment, while others remain stuck in cycles of shallow connections? This has little to do with beauty, charm, or memorized phrases. Instead, it depends on their ability to recognize and respond to the subtle, unconscious signals a man gives when he is emotionally connected. Carl Jung studied the human psyche extensively and discovered that much of male behavior is shaped by forces beyond conscious thought. He called these forces archetypes, patterns inherited across generations that influence how we think, feel, and act. One of the most powerful is the lover archetype. When this pattern awakens in a man, it triggers a profound shift. He moves beyond casual interest and becomes emotionally attached in ways logic alone cannot explain. Something ancient stirs within him, subtly guiding his behavior without his conscious awareness. Modern culture teaches men from a young age to hide their emotions. They are told to be strong, avoid tears, and never appear vulnerable. Over time, this creates a gap between what a man feels and what he can express in words. Many men struggle to verbalize love even when they feel it deeply. Yet the body cannot lie. While words can be filtered or withheld, the unconscious cannot. Jung observed that a man's attention, posture, reliability, and presence communicate his inner state. These cues form a quiet language that few women are taught to interpret. Consider a man who sends mixed signals. He may say he cares but disappear for days, or he may speak little about emotions yet consistently show up when needed most. Which of these behaviors signals true emotional investment? Words can mislead, but actions never lie. Later, neuroscience confirmed what Jung had intuited. When a man is truly in love, his brain releases chemicals that significantly influence his behavior. Dopamine generates a sense of reward, making his partner's presence feel meaningful and enjoyable. He begins to associate her with comfort and emotional fulfillment. Oxytocin, known as the bonding hormone, is triggered through closeness and intimacy. It fosters a deep biological attachment and a natural urge to protect, care for, and remain connected. This explains why an emotionally invested man often becomes protective instinctively. It is biology responding to emotional connection, not a conscious strategy. Women seeking to understand a man's feelings often focus on his words. Yet Jung emphasized that words reveal little. The depth of a man's love exists beneath the surface, expressed through consistent actions, presence, and subtle unconscious behaviors. Since men are socially conditioned to conceal vulnerability, this silent expression becomes even more important. The lover archetype is not just about desire, it embodies emotional closeness, devotion, and connection, tapping into something ancient within the male psyche. When this archetype is active, a man seeks more than physical intimacy. He desires emotional closeness, wishes to include her in his life, safeguard her peace, and experience a profound connection. Even if he does not articulate it, his life begins to revolve around her. His time, attention, and energy naturally adjust to her presence. When fully awakened, this inner drive leads him to value her presence, her security, her emotional world, and her role in his life. He wants to stay close, understand her deeply, and gradually integrate her into his life meaningfully. However, modern life complicates this natural process. Many men fear openly expressing their emotions. A man may be deeply in love yet struggle to find words. Instead, his feelings surface through subtle signs. The way he looks at her when he believes no one is watching, how he rearranges his schedule, or how he creates space for her without being prompted. These small, nearly invisible gestures often communicate more than words. Understanding this quiet language can transform a woman's perspective, allowing her to see genuine emotional investment and avoid mistaking shallow attention for true connection. Science strongly supports Jung's observations. When a man loves, his brain chemistry shifts in distinct ways. Dopamine enhances pleasure and motivation, linking her presence to happiness. Oxytocin strengthens trust and bonding. Serotonin fosters emotional stability, calm, and a sense of safety. Since these changes occur subconsciously, his behavior shifts naturally, his gaze lingers, his tone softens, and his actions subtly reveal the depth of his feelings. Even when a man speaks little, his actions can reveal his commitment. It's essential to distinguish between physical attraction and emotional involvement. Physical attraction can feel intense and exciting, but it is often temporary. It is driven by appearance and chemistry and can occur toward multiple people at once. Emotional involvement, on the other hand, develops gradually. It deepens through consistency, care, and presence, quietly revealing itself even without words. Physical attraction often stays on the surface and lacks stability. Emotional involvement grows slowly, emerging as a man gradually allows a woman into his inner emotional world. When the lover archetype is activated, his focus narrows naturally. She becomes a source of comfort, purpose, and a vision of the future. Confusion can arise because some men may express words of interest while their actions remain inconsistent, whereas others may speak little but quietly show genuine care and attachment. Recognizing true emotional involvement instead of shallow attraction can save a woman from confusion, heartbreak, and wasted time. Carl Jung also described synchronicity, meaningful coincidences without obvious cause that feel personally significant. When a man is genuinely emotionally connected, such moments often occur naturally. He may think of her just before she contacts him, or they may notice unexpected similarities, shared memories, or parallel life experiences that seem too aligned to be random. Sometimes dreams, thoughts, or timing itself appears to synchronize. These moments reflect an unconscious connection between their inner worlds. Many women overlook these signs, focusing only on spoken words or dramatic gestures. Yet synchronicity is a strong indicator that a man's unconscious mind has been activated by real emotional connection. Misreading these signals is the real risk. Some women mistake charm, attention, or brief excitement for deep love. Others miss the quiet consistency, body language, and steady presence that reveal genuine emotional depth. This misunderstanding often leads to disappointment, confusion, and draining relationships. Women are often taught to listen primarily to words, while the truth often resides in silence, in the eyes, and in the repeated ways a man shows up without explanation. By learning this silent language of male desire, women gain clarity, allowing them to identify authentic feelings and make choices that protect their emotional well-being. Understanding this hidden language requires awareness and intuition. It involves noticing how a man looks at you when he thinks you're not watching, how he organizes his time and space around you, and whether he remembers small details that others forget. It includes observing when and how he shares fears, insecurities, or vulnerabilities, whether he naturally introduces you into his social circle, and whether you appear in his vision of the future without prompting. Most importantly, it means noting the consistency of his care over time. Together, these signs form a clear picture of whether his emotional involvement is genuine or temporary. If understanding the lover archetype and the silent language of male desire is important, the next question is how a woman can gently invite this deeper bond. The answer lies in embracing feminine energy, not as a stereotype, but as a true and powerful force. When a woman aligns with her authentic feminine nature, she naturally activates unconscious processes in a man, awakening his lover archetype and fostering emotional closeness. Feminine energy is often misunderstood. It is not about weakness, submission, or silence. Rather, it is defined by receptivity, emotional depth, presence, intuition, and creative flow. It complements masculine energy, which tends to focus on action, direction, and logic. In relationships, feminine energy encourages a man to soften, lower his emotional defenses, and connect more deeply. It creates a space where vulnerability feels safe, allowing the lover archetype to emerge naturally. Presence matters far more than pursuit. Feminine energy does not chase a man or push him to feel before he is ready. Instead, it prioritizes being emotionally grounded and fully present, which naturally generates magnetism. A woman who is emotionally present radiates confidence without force and softness without weakness. This balance speaks to a man's unconscious mind, signaling safety and openness. Authentic vulnerability is equally important. By sharing her fears, hopes, and imperfections, a woman silently permits a man to do the same. This mutual openness fosters trust and emotional intimacy. A man's lover archetype awakens when he feels safe to be honest without fear of judgment or rejection. Emotional attunement strengthens this connection further. Feminine energy listens, feels, and responds with empathy. A woman connected to her own emotions and attentive to his creates a powerful emotional exchange. Feeling seen and understood deepens a man's attachment. Allowing space is also essential. Giving a man room to be himself without pressure lets his feelings emerge naturally. Space reduces resistance and lets emotional depth develop at its own pace. Feminine energy can be nurtured through simple practices. Mindfulness enhances presence. Creative expression supports emotional flow. Honoring and expressing feelings builds authenticity. Open body language invites connection. Trusting intuition strengthens inner guidance. Patience allows relationships to grow organically rather than forcefully. Carl Jung also spoke about the shadow, the hidden parts of ourselves we deny or suppress. Men often suppress sensitivity or emotional depth, while women sometimes suppress strength or independence. When feminine and masculine energies are balanced, both partners grow. Encouraging the lover archetype supports this integration, fostering a healthier, more complete connection. This perspective transforms how dating and relationships are approached. Instead of relying on tactics, appearances, or rehearsed words, the focus shifts to authenticity and emotional truth. It moves from chasing to inviting, from strategy to presence, and from words to genuine emotional connection. When a woman learns to understand the quiet, subtle language of male desire and aligns with her authentic feminine energy, she not only transforms her relationships but also her entire experience of love. Love evolves from fantasy into lived reality. Instead of chasing idealized notions of romance, love becomes grounded, mutual, and authentic. When a man's lover archetype combines with a woman's genuine feminine energy, a powerful chemistry emerges, harmonizing two inner worlds. It may not always be effortless or perfect, but it is honest and enduring. Understanding these emotional dynamics, how masculine and feminine energies interact, and the role of the lover archetype helps in recognizing when a man is truly emotionally invested. There are distinct signs of genuine emotional involvement, difficult to fake because they originate from the unconscious mind. Noticing these signals can prevent years of confusion, heartbreak, and misinterpretation, allowing a woman to see beyond surface words and promises into the true depth of a man's feelings. One of the most revealing signs is through the eyes, often called the window to the soul. Jung highlighted the power of the gaze, and modern research supports that eyes often reveal what the conscious mind hides. When a man is deeply connected, his gaze lingers with quiet fascination, absorbing details without conscious effort. Pupil dilation occurs naturally, showing the truth of his feelings. When you notice him watching you without realizing it, it signals more than desire. There is silent admiration, recognition, and a bond that extends beyond physical attraction. Another key sign is how he manages his time and space around you. An emotionally involved man instinctively adjusts his priorities to include you. He doesn't vanish without explanation or treat your presence casually. Instead, he makes room for you, shifts his schedule, and physically positions himself toward you. Subtle cues in social settings, like facing you, directing his feet toward you, or gentle touches, reveal where his emotional focus lies. These behaviors demonstrate true attachment and investment. Selective memory is another indicator. A man who is emotionally invested remembers small details that others overlook. His unconscious mind highlights what matters most, naturally keeping you at the center. He recalls your words, habits, preferences, and seemingly minor moments. Over time, his consistency shows through not dramatic gestures but steady presence, care, and reliability. Emotional involvement is evident when he supports you in difficult times, not just happy ones, and listens attentively without rushing to solve every problem. He remains emotionally present even when situations are uncomfortable. These are qualities that cannot be forced or faked. They naturally appear when a man's heart is genuinely involved. He remembers small preferences, brief conversations, and personal stories you may have shared only once. These details settle quietly in his mind, reflecting the significance of your place in his inner emotional world. When he recalls something you didn't expect him to, it's a strong indication that he values you beyond mere surface-level attraction. It demonstrates attention, presence, and emotional focus that cannot be fabricated. The fourth sign is emotional vulnerability. When a man shares his fears, insecurities, or private dreams, he is gradually lowering his emotional defenses. Society often teaches men to conceal vulnerability, so when it does appear, it is rare and deeply meaningful. This openness exposes parts of himself usually kept hidden, signaling trust, emotional safety, and genuine transparency. Jung described this as revealing the shadow, the aspects of self normally concealed from the world. Such openness is a clear sign of deep emotional connection and inner attachment. The fifth sign is social integration. An emotionally invested man naturally includes you in all areas of his life. He introduces you to friends and family, invites you to gatherings and celebrations, and speaks of you with pride rather than secrecy. He does not hide you, downplay your importance, or keep you separate from his world. Being integrated socially shows that you are valued and recognized as part of his identity, an unconscious sign of real attachment and emotional commitment. The sixth sign is future projection. A clear marker of emotional investment is how he envisions the future. When a man imagines a life that naturally includes you, it reflects true commitment. He may discuss future plans, shared trips, personal goals, or even building a life together. This is not manipulation or pressure. It is an unconscious expression of emotional attachment and long-term thinking grounded in genuine feeling. The seventh sign is protection and care. True protection is often mistaken for control or possessiveness, but it is different. An emotionally involved man shows concern for your well-being, notices subtle changes in your mood, anticipates your needs, and offers support without expecting anything in return. This protective instinct comes from a natural, biological response, signaling the depth of his attachment on a profound level. The eighth and final sign is consistency over time. Genuine emotional investment cannot be sustained through pretense. While attention or affection can be imitated briefly, true feelings show through steady, reliable behavior over time. He does not vanish without explanation or fluctuate between hot and cold behavior. His presence, energy, and care remain consistent, quietly confirming the authenticity of his emotions. Understanding these 8 signs empowers you to look beyond surface words and temporary actions. It gives you clarity to see whether a man is genuinely emotionally invested or merely showing fleeting interest. This awareness frees you from constant doubt and uncertainty. You no longer need dramatic declarations or repeated reassurances to trust his feelings. His unconscious signals speak louder than words. When a man consistently displays these behaviors, it indicates a rare and meaningful connection, one that goes beyond physical attraction and reaches a deep emotional level. This understanding allows you to view your relationships from a fresh perspective. You can recognize emotional patterns, avoid confusion, and better grasp the depth of the bonds you form. Emotional involvement is not always loud or dramatic. Often it is quiet, steady, and deeply significant. By learning to recognize these signs, you start to see a man's true intentions, his unconscious commitment, and the real depth of his love. This clarity transforms your experience of relationships from uncertainty to confidence, guiding you toward connections that are honest, nurturing, and lasting. Ask yourself, are you noticing these signs in the men around you? Or have you felt the frustration of mixed signals that leave you unsure of his intentions? Reflect on your past and current relationships with this deeper awareness. Now, understanding the psychology behind male emotional involvement and the clear markers of genuine love, an important question arises. How do you encourage a man to reach this level of emotional depth and stay there? The answer lies in creating an emotional environment where he feels safe, respected, and naturally drawn to your presence without manipulation, pressure, or games. Start by embracing your feminine energy while remaining true to yourself. Men are naturally drawn to emotional polarity. When you express your authentic feminine essence, not as a performance, but as a natural state, you activate his lover archetype. This does not mean submission or weakness. Feminine energy represents emotional openness, intuition, creativity, and warmth. By radiating confidence, emotional intelligence, and calm presence, you naturally awaken his instinct to protect, cherish, and commit. Next, practice receptivity instead of constant pursuit. Over-pursuing can create resistance as it triggers a man's instinct to protect his freedom. Instead, stay open, engaged, and responsive without overextending yourself. When a man senses availability without desperation, he is naturally inspired to invest more emotionally. Psychology shows that the lover archetype thrives when freedom is balanced with intimacy. Too much control diminishes desire, while too much distance creates insecurity. Balance is key. Finally, consider emotional pacing. Mirror his level of openness without oversharing too soon. Revealing too much too early can overwhelm his emotional defenses if he is not fully engaged. Gradually matching his pace and deepening intimacy as trust grows feels natural, safe, and exciting, never rushed or forced. Respecting emotional timing strengthens connection rather than weakens it. It's equally important to honor his autonomy while inviting closeness. A man's sense of masculinity is deeply tied to his freedom and sense of purpose. When he feels restricted, he instinctively resists. Curiously, the more you respect his independence, the more he chooses to remain emotionally close. Become someone he wants to be around naturally, where your presence feels supportive and expansive, not limiting. Maintaining a sense of mystery without creating confusion is another essential factor. Mystery isn't about manipulation or playing hard to get. It's about having your own interests, goals, passions, and inner life outside the relationship. Depth and individuality naturally sustain attraction. While familiarity brings comfort, curiosity keeps desire alive over time. Communication plays a crucial role as well. Share your needs with clarity and gentleness rather than pressure or ultimatums. Men often pull away when faced with criticism or emotional force. Using language that encourages closeness rather than defensiveness can transform potential conflict into deeper understanding. Investing in your self-worth and emotional independence is one of the most effective ways to inspire lasting love. When you are grounded, confident, and emotionally balanced, you naturally attract commitment. A man feels safe investing in someone who is whole on their own. not seeking validation or completion from him. Finally, recognize when it's time to walk away. Not every man is ready for emotional depth, and that doesn't diminish your value. Your role is to invite connection, not to force transformation. If he consistently shows avoidance, emotional distance, or disrespect despite your efforts, stepping away is an act of self-respect. Walking away isn't weakness, it's clarity and strength. Often, setting firm boundaries awakens awareness because it reflects self-value, authenticity, and inner power. If this perspective has shifted your thinking, imagine the growth that comes from taking the next step. Don't leave your relationships to chance. Choose awareness, growth, and emotional clarity. The foundation of your ideal relationship starts with the choices you make today.